This man named Daniel Hessel Murray. Him raised a Lewis, but him live a Shetland now. Him spent a long career as teacher in Stanaway and Benbecula before him travel a Shetland for work this. Little more, him start write full time. Him chat Gaelic, but him normally write in English. Him already write quite a lot of poetry and plenty book, whether factual or fiction, short story or novel.
So I show mean for said was ich Uncle Lisa was sabbath on the Detroit boxing, it's the boxing ring. Was ik een nieuwe jeke on the Detroit. So I saw, when sadness hits, it's sometimes like the fist of Joe Louis, Sugar Ray, those hard men of Detroit who dodged and swayed within the boxing ring. The unexpected swing of loss and grief, rocking flesh and soul in a way we can't believe.
Him grew Southdale, up a country in a nest near the tip of the Isle of Lewis, where them love to tell story from way back. You can see that in a whole heap of different people's skill, such as the Campbell brother them, or Balak a boxer, Alistair, Norman and Donald Campbell, who write poetry, prose and even drama. Them legacy pass on to the young writer them, like Katrina Lexi Campbell. That skill did also evident in a Warner family. Then our Uncle Dolly did used to write poem and some powerful and funny church sermon. People remember them for the humor and wisdom. Then our brother Alan also write book about how the Honey Jane sink near Battersea. But still, we can go further back than that. Then I'll have the long name for him ancestor, one family where people know about, for them give for tell story from north-west to far. Then him also have the McLean them from Tyree in a fame family tree. The family can boast them skill for tell story from way back in the past with plenty century of Gaelic bard up to recent decade with famous people like writer Alistair MacLean, who make up plenty thriller story, and Shona MacLean. Not to mention the Gaelic singer and comedian Norman MacLean, who write in a Gaelic and English.
The only thing I can say in the way of encouraging creative writing is go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
But that is my kind of revelation about the creative impulse.
Then I also fortunate we attend Cross Primary School, where the head teacher named Charles McDonald noticed him could write good from the time him little. Him used to give Donald exercise book and ask him to fold them up. Him enter Donald writing in a competition and him win prize from Brookband and the SSPCA. Donald all write one piece about me hometown Stanaway. We done the comic when him really young. So a plenty year now that him a write. Him published out story by the time him reached 20 years old, when him work at Glasgow and then go university. Him start write short story for Chapman, the Scottish Review and Radical Scotland. Him even broadcast on BBC Radio 4 Morning Story. Him thinks that the short story form link up good with Gaelic and life in the small community them. Plenty short stories center around small town them. This evident in a Highland and in a Canada, where it come in natural for the other writer them like him to use this form. But since then, him stretch out him skill and also write novel and non-fiction. Him already write 4 novels. The first one, and perhaps the hardest, named Meanwhile the Woman Them Lie Down a Dream, about the Ulara disaster. Him write one next one about Ben Lomond named Handa Havel of Miss that have connection to Towster where him did have relation. Then him have the Call of the Camarant about a man from the Faroe Island them who thinks him a the Duke of St. Kilda. That one little bit more mysterious. Latterly, him write book about the Metagama and the Marlock and the people them will emigrate from the Highland them round 1923 and 1924 and how them get along in America. That one named The Salt and the Flame. When him a little boy in a Southdale, him never expect such a career. If he did tell him say him would a turn writer of novel and other book, him would a think say you mad.